Sesame and tahini cookies combine the nutty flavor of sesame seeds with the rich, creamy taste of tahini. Tahini is a paste made from ground sesame seeds, often used in Middle Eastern cooking. I love how these cookies balance sweetness and earthiness. They usually have a slightly crisp edge with a soft, chewy center. These cookies often use simple ingredients like flour, sugar, butter, sesame seeds, and tahini. Sometimes recipes add honey or spices like cinnamon to give a little extra warmth. You'll notice two key textures: the crunch of whole or toasted sesame seeds and the smoothness that tahini brings to the dough. This contrast makes each bite interesting. These cookies feel both familiar and unique. They're perfect for anyone who enjoys a nutty twist on a traditional treat. I find them great with tea or coffee, honestly. The ingredients contain sesame seeds, almond flour, baking soda, salt, honey, tahini, and vanilla extract. First, preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Then, line 2 baking sheets with parchment paper to keep the cookies from sticking. Spread sesame seeds on a shallow dish where you'll roll the cookie dough later. Next, whisk almond flour with baking soda and salt in a small bowl. In a bigger bowl, mix honey, tahini, and vanilla extract until smooth and creamy. After that, add the dry mix to the wet one and stir everything together until the dough looks consistent. Using a spring-loaded scoop, form dough balls. Roll each ball in the sesame seeds, then press them down gently to make 1/4 inch thick rounds. Place these on the baking sheets, leaving about 2 inches between each cookie. Bake the cookies for roughly 8 minutes. Halfway through, move the pans from top to bottom to help them bake evenly. When the edges turn golden, take them out and put the cookies on a cooling rack. Once cool, they're ready to enjoy. I find these cookies work beautifully with both hot and cold drinks. A strong black coffee or dark roast espresso brings out the deep sesame notes. For a refreshing choice, cold milk or almond milk complements the tahini's richness without overpowering it. If you prefer tea, I recommend jasmine or green tea. Their floral light flavors balance the cookie's density nicely. You can also try spiced chai. The cinnamon and cardamom make for a warm, cozy match. When I arrange these cookies for holidays or gatherings, I like to mix textures and colors. Placing the cookies alongside dried fruits like apricots or figs adds contrast and visual appeal. I also serve them on a platter with nuts like pistachios or walnuts. For a festive touch, sprinkle some edible gold dust or sesame seeds on top. This simple plating makes the cookies shine and invites guests to dig in. I store my tahini cookies in an airtight container at room temperature. They stay fresh and crisp for up to 1 week this way. If you want to keep them longer, freezing works great. I place the cookies in a single layer on a baking sheet and freeze until solid. Then, I transfer them to a zip-top freezer bag or an airtight container. One mistake I often see is adding too much tahini. It can overpower the sweetness and, make the cookies bitter. Measuring carefully and tasting the dough helps me get the balance right. Baking time matters a lot. If I leave the cookies too long, they become too dry. Checking them a few minutes before the timer goes off helps me pull them out at the perfect softness. To conclude, I find sesame and tahini cookies a simple way to enjoy unique flavors in each bite. The nutty taste of sesame seeds pairs perfectly with tahini's creamy texture. Baking these cookies lets me experiment with sweetness and crunch. You can adjust the sugar or add spices like cinnamon to suit your taste. If you want a quick snack, these cookies come together easily. They work well with tea or coffee, making every break a little special. I encourage you to try them out and tweak the recipe. Baking becomes fun when you find your favorite version of a classic cookie.